Hello friends, welcome to my channel NCRT 6th class chapter 3rd Government Study. I hope you lectures like that and improve your English pronunciation skill. Let's start student. According its business in a democracy to exercise his right to criticize, ridiculous, find fault with political leaders throughout cartoon R.K. Lakshman. Chapter 3rd. What is a government? You must have heard the word government mentioned several times. In this chapter, you will learn about what a government is and the important role in play in our lives. What do your government do? How do they decide about do? What is the difference between different type of government, such as a monarchies and democracy? Read more and find out. Government sought to protect right of unorganized worker. Detailed plan to tackle flood zone, says government. Government fixed price of onion, says no shortage in market. Supreme Court can have 5 more judges. Government for repaying gold and power sector. Over 115 villages declare securities hit by government. Every country need a government to make a decisions and get things done. These can be decisions about where to build road and school, or how to reduce this price of onion when they get too expensive, or ways to increase the supply of electricity. The government also take actions on many social issues. For example, it has several programs to help the poor. It does others important things such as running postal and railway service. The government also has a job of protecting the boundaries of the countries and maintaining peaceful relations with other countries. It is responsible for ensuring that all its citizens have enough to eat and have good health facilities. When there are natural disasters like the tsunami or earthquake, it is a government that mainly organized aid and assistance for the affected people. If there is a dispute or if someone has committed a crime, you find people in a court. Court are also part of government. Perhaps you are wondering how the government managed to all this and why it is necessary for them to do so. When human beings live and work together, there needs to be some amount of organization so that decision can be made. Can you list 3 things that the government does which have not been mentioned? Some rules have to be made that apply to everyone. For example, there is a need to control resources and protest the territories of a government so people can feel secure. Government do this on behalf of their people by exercising leaderships, taking decisions and implement these among all the people living in their territories. Level of the government. Now that you know that the government is responsible for so many different things, can you think of how it managed to all these? The government works at different level. At the local level, at the level of the state and the national level. The local level means in your village, town or locality. The state level would means that which covers an entire state like Haryana or Assam's, and the national levels related to their entire countries. See the map. Later in this book, you will be read about how local level government functions and when you go into the next few classes. You will be learn about how government function at the state and central level. Laws and government. The government makes laws and everyone who lives in the country has to follow these. This is the only way government can function. Just like the government has the power to make decisions, similarly it has the power to enforce its decisions. For example, there is a law that says that all persons driving in a motor vehicles must have a license. Any person caught driving a vehicle without license can either be jailed or fined large sum of money. Without these laws of government, power to make decision is not much use. In addition to any action that government can take, there are also steps that people can take if they feel that a particular law is not being followed. If a person feel, for example, that they were not hired for a job because of their religion or caste, he or she may approach the court and claim that the law is not being followed. The court can then give order about what should be done. Types of government. Who gives the government this power to make decisions and enforce laws? The answers to the questions depend on the type of government. There is in a country, in a democracy, it is the people who gives the government this is power. They do this through election in which they vote for particular person and elect them. Once elected these person from the government. In a democracy, the government has to explain its action and defend its decisions to the people. Another from the government is a monarchy. The monarchist king or queen has the power to make decision and run the government. The monarchy may have a small group of people to discuss matter with, but the final decisions making power remains with the monarch. Unlike in a democracy, kings and queens do not have to explain their action or defend the decision they take. Discuss. Do you think it is important for people to involve in decisions that affect them? Give two reasons for your answer. Which type of government would you prefer to have in the place you live in? Why? Democratic government. India's democracy this achievement in the result of long and eventful struggle of Indian people. There are other places in the world where people have also struggled to have democracy. You know that the main features of democracy is that a people have the powers to elect their leaders. So, in the sense of democracy, is a rule by the people. The basis ideas is that people rule themselves by participating in the making of these rules. Democratic government in our times are usually referred to as a representative democracy. In a representative democracy, people do not participate directly but instead choose their representative through an this person's elections participated. Elections process these representative meet and make decisions for the entire population. These days, a government cannot call itself democratic unless it allows what is known as a universal adult franchise. This means that all adults in the country are allowed to vote. But it was not always like this. Can you believe that there was a time when government did not allow women and poor to participate in election? In their earliest form, a government allowed only men who owned properties and were educated to vote. This meant that women, the poor, the propertyless, and the uneducated were not allowed to vote. The country was governed by the rule and regulation that these few men made. In India before independence, only a small minority was allowed to vote. They therefore came together to determine the fate of the majority. Several people, including Gandhiji, were shocked at the unfairness of this practice and demanded that all the adults have the right to vote. This is known as the universal adult franchises. Writing in the journal Young Indians in 1931, Gandhiji said, I cannot possibly bear the ideas that a man who has got wealth should have to the vote, but that a man who has got characters but no wealth of literacy should have no vote, or that a man who works honestly by the sweat of his brow day and day out should not have the vote for the crime of being poor man. Exercise. Look at the statement in the column on the left. Can you identify which level they belong to? Place a mark against the level you consider most appropriate. Thank you for watching, student.